Let's start adding some information to our newly created character sheet. We open our existing character sheet from the splash screen using the Open Character button found here. We select a recently saved sheet. All character sheets created with AutoHARP will now have an AHP extension, standing for AutoHARP Player. Our main window shows as much information about your character sheet in the cleanest way possible. From this very window, I can see most of the information I will need during a campaign, such as the DB of the character, the armor the character is wearing, the initiative bonus of the character, the weapons the character can use, their OB, critical table and size, the character's talents, skills with ranks in them, and the character's statistics. I can access the character's equipment and spells with a single click and get a complete picture of each. Let's start with the character's armor. We see here that no armor or shield has yet been selected. We can edit our character's armor by clicking on the Manage Armor button. The following screen presented allows us to edit the character's armor either full or by the piece. We can select a full armor type by selecting it from the drop-down box. When we select an armor, we can set the fitted toggle switch to say the armor has been specifically fitted for the character. The drop-down box for Linked to Item is related to Battle Ruins. I will come back to this particular setting later. We can ignore it for now. If you have installed martial law, 2 more columns will appear for quality and material that will also affect the armor properties. I'm going to select rigid leather for my character with an improved quality and a superior rigid leather material. I will also toggle the fitted switch. This will give me a DB of 45. Selecting a shield and setting it to train by toggling the switch to on, I will now have a DB of 70. I can further adjust my DB by adding any information to the Magic DB, Talent DB, or any special DB if it applies. You can also elect to apply armor by the piece. The process works exactly the same like when you added armor to the full armor section. When I return to the main page, you will see that our armor type and shield are now updated, and we can click on More to see more information about our defenses. Moving down to weapons, our character does not have any weapons listed here, so we can click on the Manage Weapon button to add weapons to our character's inventory. Adding weapons to inventory does not add the weapon as equipment to the character. You have to do that separately. To add a weapon to the character's inventory, click on Add Weapon to Inventory. We are adding a specific weapon from a weapon group. The weapon groups are listed as skills in your character sheet, so you will need to know what weapon group you are adding a weapon from based on what weapon group you ranked during character creation. I remember I selected long blades as the weapon group to rank up. Therefore, I will select the weapons class One-Handed Edge, which contains the weapon group long blades. And from the weapons drop-down list, I will pick longsword. You cannot change the OB or the ranks because they are linked with the skill for this weapon group. Making changes from here would make the skill inconsistent with the weapon defined here. However, you can adjust the weapon's fumble range, the weapon's special bonus, and the weapon's critical table and size. For example, perhaps your weapon is a large weapon and not medium. If my weapon is a missile weapon, the range increment, point blank and point blank range, would contain information. This information is also editable. However, it is recommended that you leave it unless your missile weapon is very special indeed. Lastly, you can add any special descriptions about the weapon or notes, and you can add a picture from your computer. Clicking Add Weapon will add the weapon to your character, and you can make further edits by clicking on the Edit button on the right. You can also delete the weapon if you feel you have made a mistake that cannot be fixed, or you have lost or sold the weapon for something else. Clicking on the Weapon button will expand the field and show you all the weapon information, and another button that can make your weapon default will also appear in that group. When you come back to the main screen, you will see that your weapon is now listed along with its OB, its critical table, and critical size. You can click on the light bulb icon to show more information about this weapon. all weapons in your inventory will now be listed here. You can see your character's talents in the section below weapons. If you do not remember the description of a talent, you can click on the light bulb icon to get a description of the talent. You can click on Manage Talents to see all your talents added to the character sheet, and to even add some more talents. You can add a talent by clicking on Add Talent, select a talent to add, make any changes to the description if necessary, and then click the Add Talent button. Professional abilities and new level bonuses are listed to help you remember the details that have been added to your character already or that you need to add. Your character skills that are listed are all skills that have at least one rank in them. You can add more ranks to any skill by clicking on the pencil icon under Ranks. The dialog box has a section for rank type. There are 5 different rank types: Profession, Adolescent ranks, Training packages, Purchased, and Other. Profession and Adolescent ranks and Training packages should be straightforward, as these are ranks added when you were creating your character sheet and adding new levels, if you purchased a training package. Purchased ranks are skills you bought when adding a new level, and Other is a catch-all for ranks that do not fit the description of the other 4. You will also see a number to the right of each type. This represents the number of ranks of that type for this skill. To add a rank, select the type, then use the Edit Ranks input field to add or remove ranks. The total number of ranks in the skill is listed to the right of this field, and the total skill bonus is found below this field. The Skills section of the main screen overall will show you the number of ranks and the total bonus. You can click on the light bulb icon to show more information about the skill, such as key stats, the bonuses for the skill, the description and resolution type. You can edit any skill or subskill from this section as well by clicking on the pencil icon found at the right part of the row. If you click on View All Skills, this will list all categories for your character, and clicking on a category will list all skills and subskills for that category. You will see cost, ranks, rank bonus, stat bonus, and etc. for information on each skill and subskill. You can edit any category, skill, and subskill as you like. You can view subskills of a skill by clicking on the plus icon found next to a skill that has subskills. When you edit a skill, you will see 3 toggle switches. The frequently used skills are skills that are especially marked because you use them a lot, and you can have up to 20 such skills identified. You can highlight frequently used skills in the main skill screen by toggling the switch. Lock cost will lock a skill cost, even though the rest of the category is using a particular cost. This is useful if you change the cost of a category, which will change all of the subsequent skills and subskills, except for a skill or subskill of which you have locked the cost. Subskill only will make it not possible to add ranks to a skill that is checked. These are skills that contain subskills. So these are only subskills that can be ranked and not the skill itself. You add categories, skills, and subskills as well as delete any category, skill, or subskill as you like. Your character's statistical information can be changed by clicking on the pencil icon on the far right for each statistic. Clicking on the Edit button for Strength, we see that we can change the stat value, the racial bonus, and the special bonus. We cannot edit the stat bonus because this is linked to the stat value. We cannot change the total bonus because this is linked to the stat bonus, the racial bonus, and the special bonus combined. The BMR located on the same screen shows the character's different BMR values for each pace. If we click on Edit Other, I can adjust my character's BMR by updating its modifier here. One thing to understand with this dialog box is that I'm not creating a new BMR value, or initiative value, or even a combat perception value. I am updating a modifier and thus updating the total. For example, I want to update my BMR by a special value of 2. Perhaps I have a special ring or something. I update the appropriate field by putting a 2 into this field, not 13, since my original BMR for the character is 11, and I am placing a modifier into this field, not the actual value itself. The equipment sections will list all equipment carried by the character. To add equipment, go into the Manage Items section by clicking the Manage Items button. Here you can add an item by clicking the Add Item button and selecting a category of items. These categories have different properties, and thus why they are separate fields that you can select. For example, selecting General Items shows cost, weight, production time, amount, and description. However, selecting Transportation will additionally show height, BMR, maneuver bonus, max pace, MPH, and capacity. Let's add a few general items to our character. Let me add boots first. I can choose to add item or purchase item. Purchasing item will remove the cost in silver from your character's purse. You will notice your money purse now updates when you purchase this item. You will also notice the Add Item dialog box did not close. It won't close until you are done and select the Close button. Let's add a cloak, pants, scabbard, and shirt to the character. Let's then add our character's weapon, which is a longsword, and our character's armor, which is superior rigid leather. Let's add one more item, a backpack. Before we add this item, though, we can toggle the Can Store Items and then add 20 pounds to the item's capacity field, as described in the description field. Looking at the main page here for equipment, I see that I don't have any weight listed, despite the fact that my items have weight. This is because these items are not located on my character. When I start to add locations for each of my items, you will see that the weight is now updating. Select the best location from the list that describes the location of the item on the character. You may also start to see an encumbrance applied to your character if there is too much weight. This will also affect the max pace of your character now. If you go back to the main screen, you will see all of your items listed here with its amount, cost, weight, and location. You can click on the pencil icon to edit any item you want. Clicking on the Magic tab, you can see any spells that have ranks in them, which is none at this point. If I were to open the Skills page again and find a spell to add ranks to, say Bless, say I add 3 ranks to Bless. If I come back to this section on Magic, the Bless spell will now appear in this section. If I click on the Manage Spells button, it will bring me to a page where I can better manage all spells. For example, I can click on the Add Spell button to add a spell to my character. But this is better used if you add a spell you already have access into your sphere. You can also add a sphere of spells according to the database categorization of spheres. If you have College of Magics installed, you can create a spell from scratch. And this is the recommended way to create a new spell. I can also edit my casting information by updating my casting penalty, PowerPoint adder, and spell adder. I can also add focus items, mana sources, and focus styles if I have College of Magics installed. Going back to the spell screen, I can click on a spell to expand and see all of its properties. I can also see all scaling options and even add, edit, and delete scaling options. But again, it is better to do all of this from the Create Spell screen than to do it here. But you can use the Create Spell screen information to get a PowerPoint cost for a particular scaling option that you would like to add. This covers the bulk of the main page. There are still certain sections I haven't covered, like creating a new spell, managing battle ruins, and notes. These tutorials will come later.